So, hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about
Good.
you?
I'm
You
doing okay.
taking care?
Doing okay. Yeah, just, chilling out today. Didn't do a whole lot. I did get some errands done, but, just like little things that I've been putting off. You know how it is. So,
So you're telling me it's a fresh slate for you today?
a fresh
It's
slate.
decided in the next couple of minutes
A fresh slate. What do you mean?
whether it's a good day or a bad day. You know,
It's always a good day.
always. Oh, all right.
Yep. All right. Well, you want to go ahead and tell us your name
Positive.
and give us a little bit of a background on yourself and why you're here?
Sure. I'm Masuki. I'm on Discord. I recently joined Platinum Politics after making an account to discuss some more how to say
Controversial.
strange views, and I
Controversial.
wanted to debate them. Yeah, controversial views, and
Okay.
I wanted to debate to hear the other side, to give them like a shot at changing my mind because I haven't actually met a lot of left wing people who are interested in discussing because I'm not entirely confident on all of the views that I have. So I'd like to hear
Okay.
the other side.
So what you're saying is this is going to be easy mode tonight.
We'll see. We'll
You're
see.
you're primed for it.
Good.
Okay,
Hey, good
cool.
luck.
Cool. All right, this
I'm
is
ready.
perfect.
Yeah, I'm open mind. I'm
This is
open
perfect.
minded.
So am I. So am
Let's
I.
see how
So
it goes.
if you feel like I'm wrong on something, all right, you're more than welcome to try to change my mind, okay? This goes both ways. We're learning from each other, okay? This isn't I called it me deprogramming you. I would like to think that's what's going to happen, but you're more than welcome to try to do the same for me, okay?
Sure,
All right.
that'd be really funny if it was the other way around. But
It
sure.
would be. It would be interesting.
Yeah.
It would definitely be something. I don't know how I would feel about that, but we'll see. All right. Let's get started. So I described you as a fascist. Is that accurate?
um. Let me look up the definition.
Sure.
I haven't called myself that before.
Okay.
I think
I know we talked
by
briefly
and
beforehand.
large, yeah, just a little bit
Yeah.
beforehand.
Okay, if you don't feel like that's
I'd
accurate,
say
then by all means.
maybe mainly, not entirely accurate, but I think it serves the point. The beliefs are the my worldview is kind of out there. It's a little crazy.
Give
I
us
think calling me a fascist is pretty accurate to that level of
sure.
crazy.
Give us your wildest take within TOS.
My wildest take within TOS.
Yeah. When we talked about
Uh,
what TOS entails, so just make sure you're aware of that.
okay, I'll try. I'm still pretty vague on the whole TOS thing,
Just
but
just don't
I'll
call for
I'll try.
violence. Don't call for violence. Don't threaten anybody. Things like that. Anything that you say that
Okay,
could
how
be
about
taken
this?
as we should hurt these people.
I'll message you first, and you can tell me if it's too far. And
Sure.
I
You know
can't
what? That
say it now.
works. That works. Go ahead.
All right, is that we?
No, that's
What
good.
about
No,
that?
that's
What do
good.
you think of that?
9/11 was staged. 9/11 was staged. You believe that?
That's within TOS. All right.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
go
Well,
down that rabbit
I
hole
don't think it's
because
proven, but I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty likely. I think
okay,
it's
is
probably
that the rabbit hole you'd
more
like to
likely
go?
than not.
Sorry, I cut you off. Um, is that the rabbit hole you'd like to go down this evening?
Sure. Yeah, I can go down any rabbit hole.
Sure. So 9/11 being faked. So why do you think that?
Oh, um, well, I think that there's motive behind faking it. Uh, a lot of the. So, first of all, do you think it's fake? Would you say it's fake?
I don't think so. No, I think that it was a legitimate attack by an extremist group that the United States helped to fund, and then turned against us, which, you know, that just is something we're good at doing. And it was legitimate. It was done by Saddam Hussein, carried out by him, and he hired basically people to commit suicide by driving commercial planes into buildings. I think it's pretty cut and dry what happened. I'm not entirely sure of the motive. I forget the motive. I think it's because it's in response. Okay, wait. Background. In 1996, Osama bin Laden of the Islamist militant organization Al-Qaeda issued his first fatwa, which declared war against the United States and demanded the expulsion of all American soldiers from the Arabian Peninsula. So Osama bin Laden declared war in 1996 on the United States, and then 5 years later, 9/11 happens. This seems elaborate to me for it to be like made up. Like 5 years, like I'm not saying it's impossible, but don't you think that it's like Occam's razor would say Osama bin Laden did 9/11?
What was that reference that you just made? Something razor?
Something razor?
Is that a figure of expression?
Oh
What was
yeah,
the
Occam's
expression you
razor. Sorry,
used?
Occam's razor means the most likely outcome is probably the correct one. Or sorry, it's the most obvious outcome is probably the correct one. The most obvious. So like it's more, it seems more intuitively obvious to me that Osama bin Laden carried out 9/11 because of his stiffy that he had against the United States, rather than George Bush being behind it or something. That's just me.
Yeah, I think it out of everybody to frame for 9/11, he was a pretty good target because he was already openly against the United States and the culture in the Middle East. I
Simplest
think
outcome.
in majority they celebrated the attack, so it's very easy to assign blame to them. The reason that I say that I think it was staged is because I looked into it a little bit and there's some details that add up, like they don't make sense to me that
Okay.
these things just conveniently happen.
Okay, educate me. Like what?
Okay. I don't have all of it on off the top of my head, but
Okay.
for example, there was our government. I think it was one of our agencies. They found some they found some dancing Israelis covered in explosive residue with fake IDs and cash, celebrating and taking pictures of the event. When they were deported back to Israel, uh, they were later questioned uh, why they were there. What were they doing there? And they said that they were documenting the event. But how did they document the event? If, like, how did they know that it was going to happen?
Who
How
are
were
these
they
people?
in position? These are Israelis. There were five dancing Israelis.
9/11.
They were covered in explosive residue, and I believe two of them were confirmed Mossad agents.
September 11th attacks advanced knowledge conspiracy theories. Israel. In
Are
September
you Googling right now?
2001, yes, the New York Times and Israeli newspaper
Okay.
Haaretz reported that 4 hours after the attack, the FBI arrested 5 Israelis who had been filming the smoking skyline from the roof of a white van in the parking lot of an apartment building for puzzling behavior. They were charged with illegally residing in the United States and working there without permits. Okay, so they were in the United States illegally. And they were like
Puzzling behavior.
apparently they were filming the smoking skyline. The Israelis were said to have pulled into the parking lot after the destruction of the first tower and videotaped the remainder of the disaster with what was interpreted as cries of, quote, joy and mockery. The incident became known as the Dancing Israelis in conspiracy theory circles. Police found the van and a search revealed $4,700 in cash hidden, along with foreign passports and a box cutter, which aroused suspicion and led to the detention of the occupants. The men were held in detention for more than 2 months, during which time they were subjected to interrogation and polygraph tests before being deported back to Israel. Back home, several of the men appeared on an Israeli TV chat show where one of them, Oded Elner, subsequently stated that, quote, "The fact of the matter is we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event." The 5 men worked at the company Urban Moving Systems, Inc., owned and operated by Dominic Suter. After the men were arrested, the FBI searched their offices and questioned Suter. However, Suter fled to Israel. Hold on. Okay, they worked for Suter. Suter fled to Israel before he could be questioned further. Eventually, Suter's name appeared on the May 2002 FBI suspect list, along with September 11th hijackers and other suspected extremists. On March 15th, 2002, I know this is long, sorry. The Forward claimed that the FBI
Yeah, you can read.
had concluded, I just want to make sure we're thorough, that the van's driver, Paul Kurzberg, and his brother Sivan were indeed Mossad operatives who were in America, quote, spying on local Arabs. ABC News cited this report on June 21st, 2002, adding that the FBI had found no evidence that the 5 Israelis had foreknowledge of the attacks. Okay, I think that's enough. So we have 5 Israelis who are here illegally from Israel, and their purpose is to spy on and document the behavior of Arabs, right? So they heard that 9/11 had happened, show up a couple hours later, document the attack as best they can while laughing because, haha, look, it's the scary brown people doing scary brown people things. We told you. This doesn't strike me as evidence that 9/11 was faked.
I don't think it's evidence for it being faked. I think it's a little bit weird though. I mean, how did they know that the event was going to happen?
They didn't.
It said that they were arrested for interesting behavior. What was the interesting behavior?
They were
Does the
sitting there
article
hooting and
say
hollering
what that
when
was?
they were sitting there hooting and hollering and cheering 9/11 as it happened. Because they were like, oh my God, it's the brown people. We were right. Oh my God, look, the brown people did a thing. Like that's the logic.
Okay, so they were celebrating because
They were right.
everyone realized that
Yes, they knew that we were in for an
Saddam
era.
he was the guy.
They knew we were in for an era of pretty harsh Islamophobia. That's why they were celebrating. Which tracks for Israeli citizens.
Okay. That's out of pocket for them. But that's interesting.
No, it tracks. I think
it's an interesting story.
Yeah, most people in Israel are horrifically Islamophobic and anti-Palestine.
Yeah. That tracks. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I just don't think this supports
they,
anything.
Want to kill each other over there.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that if you want, but I don't think that this supports anything.
Okay, fair. You're gonna need a little bit more.
Well, I just don't think that. Do you agree that this does not support what you said at all? We can toss it.
I don't think it proves it.
Well, is it support
I just think it's
though?
Weird.
Like, why? My question is, why do you think this supports that 9/11 was faked or set up? What was it? What do you think? Was it faked or was it like staged? Because faked is,
I think it was.
They made it up. Staged is they pre-planned it.
Staged, I'd say. I'd say it was staged.
Staged, just so we're on the same page. So you think it was staged? Okay. So it happened, but it was staged. Yeah. Okay, got it. I don't think this is evidence that it was staged.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. It isn't. I don't think it is. It's
cool.
It's just strange. It's just strange.
Okay. And that's one down. See?
Like,
oh, you're cutting out. The thing's happening.
Then. Oh.
Try again.
Hello.
I think you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you're good. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something.
We were talking about how the five Israelis is
Where were
not
we?
the five Israelis is not evidence of this being staged at all. Like you can say it's strange. Sure, it was strange behavior, but it's not evidence at all that they were like what do you think they were doing? Like they didn't have any prior knowledge. They showed up when they heard about the first tower being hit.
I haven't. That's new. That's news to me. I didn't. I mean, that sounds interesting. That's an
I
interesting
mean, we don't
story.
I don't think we know
I
for
heard.
sure when they showed up, but we can
Yeah.
presume.
It is. It's strange. I don't think it proves. It doesn't prove it. But
It's not a matter of it proving
it's
it.
not the only thing that's a little weird.
Okay, my question is this still a component of your logic? Like, or have we deprogrammed that? Like, are you still convinced that this has something to do with it being staged?
I think it could be.
Okay,
I
why?
don't think it's like proven.
Okay, why?
Because if they were there, like Mossad agents with explosive residue, passports, cash,
Explosive
and
residue?
they're said to have been, yeah.
Hold on. I'm not seeing anything about explosive residue on this page. Can you give me a source for that?
I don't have it on hand, but I can look into it.
They were found with
If it's true,
4,700 in
then
cash.
it's not a thing.
They were found in 4,700 in cash, 4 in passports, and a box cutter. That's what they were found with.
So cash, box cutter, and
And
foreign
passports.
passports.
Yes, passports, yes.
So they were illegally spying on Muslims in the country, happened to be in the area, document it, and
Well,
later
yeah.
say that they were documenting the event.
Yeah, and if they were in New York, that tracks because that's a huge hub for Islam. Like, of all cultures, really, but Islam especially. Like, that's a good place to be if you are an immigrant. So, well, I shouldn't say like that bluntly, but that is the place that a lot of immigrants go, is my point. It's a cultural melting pot. So, sorry, I'm tired today. But my point is, it's not
That's all good.
it's not so out there that they would be there. You know what I mean? Like it lines up. It
Yeah,
was never
yeah,
confirmed they were
yeah.
Mossad. Okay, got it.
Their story, the story is not too hard to believe.
Okay,
I
then
can see
I
that,
just don't think that this
and
is.
I don't think it proves.
Okay, you need to listen to me. I'm not saying that this alone proves or disproves anything. Okay, I know that this is one piece of the puzzle. My question is, does this piece still fit? Do you still think that this is a crucial element to your logic?
No.
Okay, so we can toss this aside, right? At least for the sake of the discussion.
Yeah, we could. If we
Sure.
wanted to, we could.
Well, do you want to? Or do you want
We
to keep
could,
talking
yeah.
about it? Okay.
If
It's up to you.
we can go to the next
Sure.
strange thing
Sure.
about
Let's go to
that
the
though.
next strange thing. What else is there?
And I could be wrong about these. This is I just heard this and it's like,
Okay.
that's strange.
Okay. I
Why are all these
appreciate you saying
things?
that. I'm glad that you're open to being
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
So,
Okay,
what's next on the
okay.
agenda?
I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong about this stuff. So next on the agenda, well, I think I heard something about there being like a ton of gold being like underneath one of the buildings that mysteriously vanished during cleanup. Where did the gold go? And this is,
Well,
I
let's
could be
take a
wrong
look.
about this.
Okay. Which
I
building was
only
it?
heard this. I'm not sure. It was one of the buildings.
Okay, there's a gold storage vault under the World Trade Center. What was in the 9/11 rubble? $500 million in gold and silver, confiscated drugs, 1,000 cars. So that was all in the rubble. Because like that was known
Okay, so
to,
they did find that.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay, seems like an easy one. We can toss aside.
Yeah, we can toss that aside.
Cool. What else?
Okay, what about they found Iranian passports in the wreckages of the planes. How did they find intact passports? Like within the 1 hour time frame of the crash. Everything else was charred. How did they find intact passports?
All right. Well, I'm looking at Iran right now, the Iran section, and I'm not seeing. Do you want me to share my screen with you?
Sure, yeah.
There we go. So you should be able to see it now. Uh-oh. Why are things freezing
And
up?
also, I'd be happy
Okay, just
to
Discord.
share. I'd be happy to share the source later of where I heard these things, and you can have a look at it, review it, call it out if it's bad. I mean, it could be wrong. Who knows?
Right. It looks like I'm starting to chop up a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. I did just get my CPU replaced. So I'm going to stop sharing stream.
Okay.
Sorry about
You
that.
can.
I gotta fix that. I don't know why it's
Do
not
you know
fixed.
how to screenshot?
Yes. Here. So you can follow along. We'll just start with this. Can you go away, Steam? Okay. All right, there's that. So, Iran. Sybil Edmonds, an FBI translator, was told by another translator that the FBI received information in April 2001 from a reliable Iranian intelligence asset that Osama bin Laden was planning attacks on 4 to 5 cities with planes. Excuse me. And that some of the plotters were already in the country and the attacks would happen in a few months. The translator described the interviewing agent's reaction that the warnings were not specific enough to act upon. In 2004, the 9/11 Commission, quote, found no evidence that Iran or Hezbollah was aware of the planning for what later became the 9/11 attack. Just before their report was published, the committee received evidence which caused to add to the report that the topic required further investigation. Okay, so at this point, hold on. Okay. On December 22nd, 2010, a United States federal judge signed a default judgment holding Iran, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda liable following an open court hearing in which the evidence was produced by the plaintiff's attorneys, which they said showed that Iran assisted the hijackers. 9/11 Commission members and witnesses who claimed they were Iranian defectors and members of Ministry of Intelligence and National Security and the Iranian Revolutionary Guards also testified during the hearing. The suit Havlish et al. V. Bin Laden et al. Was brought in 2001 by Fiona Havlish, whose husband died in the North Tower. Abulgasem Mesbahi, who claimed he was a former Ministry of Intelligence operative in charge of Iran's espionage operations in Western Europe, testified that he was part of a task force that designed contingency plans for unconventional warfare against the United States, codenamed Shaitan Dar Atashi/Satan in Flames, which included crashing hijacked passenger airlines into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the White House, and that in the summer of 2001 he received 3 coded messages telling him to activate the plane. An Iranian government memorandum was presented as evidence that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, had pre-knowledge of the attacks. Several days after the ruling, a spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry said charges that Iran, quote, had a hand in planning the attacks and that one of al-Qaeda's members was present inside the country is baseless, and said, quote, with the reputation of such claims to back its political aims, the U.S. is putting the peace and security of the world in jeopardy. So basically, they ruled that these were baseless claims, that nobody who knew about 9/11 was present in Iran as far as they knew. Is it Iran? Yeah, that's bullshit. The judges said there's no evidence for this. It's bullshit. Is that what you
Evidence
were looking
for
for?
what?
That okay. Let me go back over it one more time. Okay, so Abu Ghasim Mesbahi claimed he was a former Ministry of Intelligence operative in charge of Iran's espionage operations in Western Europe, and he testified that he was part of a task force that designed contingency plans for unconventional warfare against the United States, codenamed Shaitan Dar Atashi, or Satan in Flames, which included everything that happened on 9/11. So he was supposedly from Iran, right? And so,
Okay. Oh.
Abu Ghasim Mesbahi, and he claimed that he was part of the Ministry of Intelligence in Iran, and he basically was testifying that Iran was involved with 9/11. And Iran's foreign ministry said
Okay.
charges. So Iran's foreign ministry said charges that Iran had a hand in planning the attacks was baseless. So okay, so basically this is saying Iran says that Iran did not have anything to do with the attacks. So this guy says that he represents the Ministry of Intelligence, and Iran's saying that's bullshit. We don't know who he is. Let's see.
Okay.
Iran has harbored Al Qaeda leaders, facilitators, and that they have been under house arrest conditions. Iran's rulers have had this sort of standoff arrangement with Al Qaeda, allowing Al Qaeda to exist inside Iran, but not to foment any operations. It just doesn't seem like there's enough here to definitively say that Iran had anything to do with it.
That Iran had anything to do with 9/11?
Yeah, because
You mean
you brought up
Israel?
Iran, right?
Wasn't
Did we do all this for nothing?
was
I thought you
Saddam?
brought up Iran.
I brought up Israel. Uh, the
Yeah,
dancing
we talked about that
Israelites.
already.
Those guys.
We talked about that
Yeah.
already.
And
We said
now,
we're casting that
oh, the
aside.
Iranian passports. Okay. So
There was nothing here
you're
about Iranian
suggesting that,
passports. This is everything that there is about Iran is right here.
so there's nothing about them finding passports in the
9/11
planes, the
Iranian
plane crashes.
passports. Yeah, I'm not finding anything about that.
Huh. Interesting. I should get okay. I'll get back to you with some sources where I heard that
Yeah,
from
sure.
because apparently it's not on the mainstream.
Sure, but for right now we can just assume that this is a dead end, right?
Sure, yeah, we can assume. Yeah.
Okay, so dead end. So we can agree to disagree on that if you want. I don't really care. What's next on the agenda?
Well, there could be some other things, but I think about now, I think I'm already willing to change the statement
Okay, what are you
of,
changing it to?
instead of, I think it was for certain staged, I think I change it to maybe. It could have been staged.
Okay, that's
It's not
progress.
proven.
Okay, that's progress. See, you are open and willing to admit that you're wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
And this isn't you saying you were wrong. This is saying you could be wrong. So, good.
I could be.
Good stuff. So, what would it take to convince you that 9/11 actually happened the way that we say that it did? Like, obviously, the United States had a hand in it, okay? Because they basically created Al Qaeda, and then Al Qaeda turned around and, said, fuck you. But it went down the way
Yeah.
that it went down, like Al Qaeda attacked us. It was an Islamic extremist group led by Osama bin Laden, and he organized 4 plane attacks to, strike, basically use them as gigantic missiles to strike buildings. and bring America to its knees. That was his master plan, and it almost went down without a hitch. Which flight was it that was going to hit the White House and they ended up going down instead? Flight 56 or something.
Something.
Yeah,
You want me to
like
look it
that.
up?
Like that all happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
You're asking what would prove definitively that it was Iran?
beyond a reasonable doubt.
What would it take?
No, no, no. Not that it was
Beyond a reasonable
Iran.
doubt.
Not that it was Iran. That it was Al
Okay.
Qaeda. That it was Al Qaeda. That Al Qaeda planned it, and you know, the United States did have something to do with the creation of Al Qaeda, but not directly the 9/11 attacks.
I think it would probably take an unbiased source. So, like, what I mean by that is, I think that this is a, this is a secondarily hot take. I think Israel has a lot of control over the media and the political climate in America. I think they have the means to change the story. And so if they didn't have the means to do that, and there was an investigation that was unbiased, that wasn't possible to be bought out or etc. And they went and they performed an investigation. I think I would begin to I would say that yeah, I would say I was wrong.
Give me an example of an institution that you personally trust for information.
Uh
Where do
Not
you get
many.
your sources?
Pretty much
Nothing?
none. I don't really
None?
trust.
You no, you have to
I
trust
could
something.
I trust some friends. I think
Friends, who do they
they're
trust?
pretty good on knowing things. Who do they trust? I could ask them for some videos actually.
You want to ask them now?
Specifically
For
on
videos.
9/11. They showed me
Okay, what
yeah,
videos?
yeah. They showed me huh? Sorry.
Can you give me an example of a video that you trust?
I don't have it on hand right now, but I can get it I can get it to you.
Well, let's take some time then. Like they sent it to you, right?
No. It was over screen share.
Oh, okay. Well, what was the video about? Or do you at least like either what it was about or like who wrote it or who made it? Do you remember?
It was a YouTube channel. They were talking about 9/11 and they were bringing up like uh, some of the stuff that I told you and also more stuff.
Right. And
Um,
now that
and they
we've
have their
gone,
sources
sorry,
publicly available.
I cut you off. Go ahead.
Sorry, what?
I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just wrapping up. They talked about like 9/11 and they gave their sources, etc.
Okay, what sources did they give?
I did not look into them.
Okay. Well, so you trusted this person then without ever actually looking into their sources, right?
Yes, kind of.
Why?
I didn't inherently trust them, but it does support my current worldview.
Ah. So things that support your current worldview are things that you trust, right? Those are sources that are good.
Yes,
Hmm.
usually,
Do you
by and
not
large.
do you not see a problem with that?
Yeah, I do see a problem with that.
Okay, I'm glad that you recognize it so openly. A lot of people wouldn't be willing to admit that, but it's true. And I'm guilty of this as well. We all look for sources that are biased toward our current worldview. We don't want to be wrong. Being wrong is very uncomfortable. So it's good that you admit that. Now that you've admitted it, would you be willing to reassess what you trust and why?
Yes, absolutely. The only reason that I didn't was because it made sense to me. And now that I'm in an argument with the other side, and I realize that I haven't fact checked these sources.
Right.
It it makes my argument less valid. So of course I'm gonna go back and check and make sure that I'm actually citing something that's right.
You are an inquisitive person. You are a person who very much seeks the truth, okay? Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Okay? Like if you see some shit, and I'm sorry to say it like that, but you were being a little bit of an idiot in this case because you trusted somebody without ever even checking their sources on information that is largely uh, not disavowed. What's the word? Largely like disregarded by like the larger academic
Disprove
community.
this.
Not disproven,
Ah,
disregarded.
yeah, okay.
Like they don't pay attention to it because
Disregarded.
it's
All
just
right.
noise. Yeah. Are you on
Okay,
a
okay.
delay?
I think that type of I don't think I have a delay. Hello?
Okay. All right.
So I
Here,
think that
real
type of
quick,
information has
real quick. I want to test
yeah, what's
something.
up?
I want you to say the word red now.
Red.
Okay, so took about 2 seconds. Okay, I don't think you're on a delay. Sorry. Go ahead.
What was I saying?
It's okay.
Dang it.
No, it's okay. I
Um
forget a little bit too. So we were talking about Al Qaeda. We were talking about
okay,
okay, the
I
sources, the
think I remember.
sources. So you trusted
Yes.
this guy implicitly without checking his sources. We recognize that that's a bad thing to do, right?
Yes. I think
Right.
if I'm going to stand on points like these, I at the very least need to know the sources. So I
Yes.
will go and I will check these things and I
Absolutely.
will if you're still open, I can get back to you and
That's fine.
we
That's
can
totally
talk more
fine.
about
Do
it.
do you want to place this aside until you're armed with a little bit more knowledge on it? I think that would help.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I think
Sure.
this is probably the most out there take that is YouTube TOS friendly.
What I'm glad that we did though is I made you look into it more. Okay? I want you to arm yourself with the best case possible for the things that you believe, no matter what they are. Make the best case possible,
I'm
okay?
I'm incredibly thankful. Yeah. I
Yeah, of
appreciate
course.
that.
Of course. Cuz if it's true, I want to know it. You know what I mean? Like I want to know that 9/11
Yeah.
was staged. You know, I'm not sitting here
Yeah,
trying to be
yeah.
like, no, it wasn't staged. It couldn't have been. No, no. Like what? Like there's no point to doing that. If it was staged, I want to know it. You know, it's like Jeffrey Epstein. Like that's a conspiracy too, and that's a pretty broadly accepted one because
Wait,
it's
wait,
very,
wait.
very fishy.
Do you want to get into that actually?
Do you think Jeffrey Epstein was
I'm
faked?
interested. What do you mean faked?
Like there are people who think that like Trump was like doing espionage or like other thing like Jeffrey Epstein wasn't killed, which he might not have been. It doesn't really matter. Maybe he killed himself, but ultimately the point is he was coerced into dying because he had information and was willing to give it out. And there were people who did not want him to give out that information.
So the he didn't kill himself, that theory?
I don't think that he did. It's really not that relevant. If that's the only thing we disagree on, I'm not interested in that discussion.
No, I only ask because I'm trying to find where the conspiracy is.
So the conspiracy, when we say the word conspiracy, what we mean is a government plan of some sort that they're keeping hidden from the public, or not even necessarily just the government, just some large network or body that has power. They do something that they're keeping hidden from the government or from the public. Sorry. Um, that's to the best of my knowledge, that's about how we define it in common vernacular. So Epstein not killing himself is a conspiracy theory. Okay? Because we don't really have the evidence to say that that is what happened, right? Not beyond a shadow of a doubt. But we got enough, right? We got enough to say, yeah, this seems like the most likely thing to have happened. And so most people are like, yeah, of course Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Of course, billionaires plotted his death so that they wouldn't have their. Because if you think about it, right, like, of course billionaires are going to pull every string they can to keep Jeffrey Epstein from releasing their information about them being on Pedophile Island, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
sounds
like, let's
accurate.
be real here.
I
Like
think
that
Trump's defending him
conspiracy,
too.
that's true. So
Yeah, even Trump.
yeah. So that conspiracy, probably true. Um, most conspiracy theories, like the world being flat, which is something my uncle believes, and I'd love to talk to him about that sometime. Um, but like most conspiracy theories are based on bullshit.
Okay. So when you say that there's enough evidence, when you say that, how do you are you coming from a place of that you know that this Epstein conspiracy is like true? You know it to be true, or do you think it's true? Like
I
it
don't
could
know
be true.
anything to be true except that I exist.
Oh,
But I gather evidence around me using my senses, my five senses, and my brain and processing power. And I come to the most correct conclusions that I possibly can using that information. But the only thing I know for absolute certain is that I am alive in some sense. I'm conscious, I'm here, whatever that means. Maybe you're fake, maybe my body's fake, who knows, but I am here. There is something that is experiencing this right now. That's the only thing I know for sure.
is that the "I think therefore I am"
You got it.
like quote?
You got it. Exactly. So anyway, that aside,
Well, the reason that I ask whether you have, whether you believe it like inherently or not, is because it's similar to the 9/11 conspiracy in that it's not like proven. There's no, you can't point, to my knowledge, you can't point to any articles, but you can kind of like put the dots together to get in like an idea of what it could be.
well, we went through two of
So
those. Well, we're gonna leave 9/11 aside for tonight, right? We've decided that
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, but if we run through the Epstein stuff the same way we did the 9/11 stuff, I guarantee you it's going to look a lot worse for like the Epstein the people who think that Epstein didn't kill himself, you know? Like the people who are like, "Oh yeah, there's no way that that conspiracy is true," which is few and far between. But like there's enough evidence and enough logic and reason that we can kind of logic our way into the Occam's razor position of probably billionaires had Epstein killed in some fashion to keep him from squeaking. Like that happens all the
Yeah,
time. It's
yeah.
like a trope. It's like a human trope.
So how, I agree with you, by the way, but how would you, like, from an argument perspective, how would you go about explaining why you believe that if you
Well,
can't prove it, like from,
sure. Well, don't you think it's odd that Jeffrey Epstein was caught, thrown in jail, put on suicide watch, is a very, very high value information suspect. And somehow the cameras just happen to shut off the moment that he dies. That's the story they're going with.
I know, I don't, I don't
We
really
don't
believe
have
that, but
we don't have okay, here's the problem. We have a lack of evidence to the positive. Okay? We have a lack of evidence to the positive, but the reason that we have a lack of evidence to the positive is because it was erased or enough things. Let's give the benefit of the doubt. Enough coincidences lined up such that we don't have it. And once enough coincidences start lining up, it becomes a pattern. And once you have a pattern, you have a narrative. Make sense?
okay, I'm a bit confused on it, but I think I'm sort of following.
Sure. So the coincidences were as follows. Jeffrey Epstein just decides it's his time to go, even though he's already agreed to release some information for like a better deal. To my knowledge, that is what happened. Okay, so for some reason, he just decides, okay, it's my time now, right? Decides to kill himself. While he's doing this, the guard, I guess, was just asleep at the time as well. And not only was the guard asleep, but the cameras mysteriously shut off for 2 or 3 minutes or whatever. You know? It's just like coincidence after coincidence, and we can keep going, but hopefully you understand the point here is it becomes a pattern. You know? Like you can create a pretty clear picture of what went on here. And considering the subject matter, Jeffrey Epstein being in cahoots with billionaires, the most powerful and rich people on this fucking planet, people like Prince Henry, like, yeah, of course they want him killed.
Yeah, I think I get it.
Yeah. It's just
I
about how
I
convincing of a case you
believe
can make.
I already didn't believe that he I don't think he killed himself. But
That's
I
fine.
was asking because I was trying to see the difference between that conspiracy and the 9/11 conspiracy so that I don't like
Well,
repeat that.
let's try doing what you did to me, if you want. The Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy. Which part of my explanation did you not believe or feel like you need more information on? Have a good night, Plague Mercury.
Hmm. It's kind of hard to do because I believe you, but
Okay, then
I'm
we're
trying to
good.
come I'm trying to
That
think of it.
okay, then you do believe in that, not necessarily that Epstein killed himself, but that he was absolutely in cahoots with billionaires who wanted him dead.
Yeah, I think he was silenced.
He
He
was
was
silenced.
silenced
He
for
was
sure.
silenced.
I don't think I don't think he killed himself.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you. You don't think he killed himself. My bad. So, um, yeah. So then we're in agreement then. So
Yeah, yeah, we are
yeah. So then
on that.
fine.
But
Then there's
that is a
nothing more to talk about.
conspiracy.
It
Like
is a conspiracy.
how would I prove it? How would I prove that to somebody?
So in order to prove something to somebody, you must build the most convincing narrative possible. Okay, you have to make it airtight as possible. And if you're lying, okay, if there's some incorrect information somewhere, that's an air bubble. Okay, that's not airtight. Okay, you can make it look airtight if you want. You can try to massage the air bubble and try to make or break it up into tinier pieces, but it's an air bubble nonetheless, and it's not airtight. Does that make sense? A lie is always an air bubble
Yeah,
in this
okay.
airtight quote unquote narrative. So the narrative needs to be
Okay.
cohesive, coherent, and compelling. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I
The,
think so.
yeah, the narrative that I just gave you about Epstein killing himself, or not killing himself, rather, I feel was cohesive, coherent, and compelling. Cohesive meaning it follows from point A to point B, coherent meaning you're able to understand it, and compelling meaning it is convincing you. And if you want to look in, this is how propagandists do their propaganda, by the way. Like, they don't need facts, okay? All they need to do is build a cohesive, the three C's narrative, okay? Um, and that's all it takes. So if I can do that, and I actually have sources to back me up, or if you look into it, you can find the sources that would back me up, then I'm right until proven wrong. What we did with the 9/11 theory is we proved it wrong, basically. Not all the way, but we at least proved it wrong enough that now you feel like you have to go back and do more research, right?
Okay, okay. So, okay, yeah, I think I get it.
Yeah.
It was not watertight. It was not convincing enough because the evidence didn't. There was too many holes.
Too many holes. We found the holes. I like to look at this
Okay.
as so I'm a psych NP, or sorry, I'm going to become a psych NP. I'm in training. And I'm going to,
What is that?
it's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. It's basically a psychiatrist, but I come from a nursing background rather than like an MD background. So my job is to sit, it's the same as a psychiatrist, basically. I'm a stand in for a psychiatrist. I just come from a slightly different background. I have a slightly different method. So my method personally is when people give me a narrative like this, I sit down and I look at this picture Okay? Everything that you say, every word that comes out of your mouth is a piece of this puzzle, right? And sometimes this puzzle lines up perfectly, beautifully. There might be some missing pieces, but we can get a good idea of what the picture looks like. It looks cohesive enough. We know what it is. This is a picture of a horse, for instance, right? What you've described is a picture of a horse. And so the puzzle pieces line up, looks like a horse, checks out, right? Now, if you show me a picture of a chicken, right? And you try to say, well, no, this is a horse. See, here's its snout. And you point at the beak. It's like, no, like now you're painting a picture of a chicken and telling me it's a horse. This does not line up with me. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah, I think
with nine, yeah. So
I
with
get
your
the gist.
9/11, yeah, with your 9/11, then like you're painting a picture of 9/11 being staged, and I'm telling you, well, I'm looking at the same picture as you,
It's
and
too
that's not what I
blurry.
see.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
That clears things up.
good. Okay, well, where would you like to move this conversation? We've talked about conspiracies, Epstein, 9/11. What else would you like to discuss? Let's
Good
get like one more
conversation.
topic in
Good
at least.
conversation.
It's a good conversation so far. Let's see if we can
Okay.
get one more
Yeah,
topic
one,
in.
one conversation, and then we can call it a night.
Sounds
we can
good.
do this later if you're still down.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not tonight, but some other day.
Yeah, for sure. It's just been almost an hour, so
Um, okay, I'm trying to think of something else we could talk about.
queer people is always a fun one.
I bet. I bet. How many people you talk to about queerness
Lots.
in like your discussions?
Lots.
Lots. Okay.
Lots and lots. What do you think of queer people?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about that. Is that queer as in like just
Gay and
LGBT
trans.
in general,
Gay and trans.
or like gay and trans?
Gay
Uh,
and or trans.
I don't think I don't want to violate TOS for you.
DM me. DM me your take.
I think. Okay. And I'm not sold on this take, but it's like
I know you're not.
it's very loose.
I know you're not. The whole reason you're here is to have your mind changed. I appreciate that. See, if people
I'm
would
trying to think
just
of how I would
fucking take the
phrase
time to talk to you, maybe they could convince you of some things, right?
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
I have tried to talk to people about this, but they don't really want to. They don't really want to.
Well,
They
you
just,
come out of the
they're-
gate.
I
You
think
come
they're
out of the.
repulsed by it.
Yeah, I mean, you come out of the
Go
gate as a
ahead.
fascist, and then it goes downhill from there. So,
Yeah. Usually it ends with the first sentence.
exactly.
That's why I usually just ask questions.
If I
to
could,
see
how
where
do
they're
you feel
coming
about
from.
that? How do you feel about like when you say I'm a fascist or whatever you say, whatever it is, and then people immediately shut you down? What does that make you feel like?
Anger. It makes me feel angry and vengeful. It makes me feel like I have justification to do the same. Except I
Okay.
try not to.
So
Although it's hard.
you then turn around and shut out people with progressive voices because they're not listening to you. Why the fuck should you listen to them?
Well, I try to still listen to them because I could be wrong, but like
But you have that
if
inclination.
if they're ready and willing to like shut down the conversation and end it with like you need to die, we can't talk, we can't exist in the same world, then it's kind of like, okay, well, you gotta go. Like it's immediately like a fight kind of thing. And it's sad, but it is what it is.
What have you said to somebody to spur on that reaction, if I may ask?
If I okay, if I've talked to some trans people, and if
Me too.
if they're trying to explain to me the difference between sex and gender, and I'm not getting it, and they admit to not understanding what they're saying, and not being able to convey like how it makes sense. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I want to know if I cut out. If they try to tell me that there is basically there is a difference between gender and sex, and they explain it in a way that when I ask questions, when I'm trying to understand, it doesn't make sense to me. And then they admit that they don't understand it either. And when I go, okay, so you can't explain this to me in a way that makes sense to you or to me, why should I like follow it? And they go, because it's respectful, and it feels like that's silly, because
Yeah.
if I don't understand it, why would I go along with it? That sounds like a cult thing. So I mean,
Makes perfect sense to me. If you're talking to people who don't know what the hell they're talking about, trying to convince you of something, doesn't go very well for them, does it?
well, I don't think they're trying to convince me like logically. They just want me to agree. Like
A lot of the
it doesn't
time,
matter if I understand. That's
a lot of the time, unfortunately, that is the case. There is a problem on the left with people not wanting to convince the other side because they feel like it's not their job, and it's not. It's not their fucking job. I will tell you, when it comes to trans people, where they're coming from, okay, and you don't have to believe me, but if you want to talk about it, I can try to convince you why. Okay? Trans people are coming from a place of immense hurt. Okay? They live in a society that hates them, and they just want to be loved and accepted just like everyone else. And so they get frustrated, they lash out, they act irrationally, and it's not productive. Okay, but I have a lot more lenience for them than I do for people like you, frankly, because, like, I'm not saying that you're not being hurt by society. Okay, don't take this the wrong way. I think we all are, but at the same time, like, you are part of a system that is oppressing them. You. And I know you don't want to be part of that, so I'm trying to convince you. I'm going to try to convince you why you should not be. Okay, like, whatever you need me to explain, I got you. Difference between sex and gender, got you. Okay, from now on, I'm your guy. You can come to me. Okay, because you're not going to be wasting my emotional energy or whatever. Like, trans people have the right to invoke that. Okay, at the same time, it's just not that productive. So I'm doing the heavy lifting. All right, because of my privilege. As a cis man, and I will explain anything that you want. So sex versus gender, we can do that. We can do something else, whatever you want.
sure. I think that's very kind of you to offer that. I
Sure.
don't really get that a lot from the other side.
Well, now I'm doing it, so we'll see if we can come to an understanding,
What
okay?
made you decide to do that? Like, I think, well, like I asked you a little bit, but like what made you realize that the other side wants to hear you out?
Well, we all do. Nobody wants to be wrong. And I knew that deep down, and I think everybody knows that. Everybody knows that nobody sees themselves as the bad guy in their own story. It's just a matter of implementing that, you know? Just take yourself out of it, okay? Like, you have to be able to separate yourself from the issue enough such that you can have a conversation with people who disagree with you to the extent that they don't even think you should exist. Like, that's hard to do. That's very, very hard to do, especially for a trans person, because they're so discriminated against and downtrodden in this country and abroad. So I don't expect them to. That's why I'm doing it myself. And the reason that I came to this conclusion, the way that I did, the method, I guess, there was a lot of personal stuff going on in my life, and I realized that my anger and my drive to be right all the time was driving people away from me in my personal life. And if I didn't stop, then I was going to not have anybody left. You know, like it even came down with, you know, me and my wife. Like I could have easily popped off on her for, she did something with her anxiety pills that she wasn't supposed to. And she's done that before. And like, it felt like the final straw because I had to deal with, you know, panic attacks as a result. Right. So it felt like a betrayal. I felt like everybody was betraying me left and right. And so I finally decided, okay, I need to be patient. Even if I don't like these people, right? My family, for instance, even if I don't like them right now, there was my uncle's funeral coming up. And I told myself I'm going to go. I could have chosen not to go. Me and my family were in a big fight, okay? But I told myself I'm going to go. This is about my dad, okay? And regardless of what my dad believes, regardless of how he feels about things, about trans people, whatever, about my very own wife, all right, he is a man in need and he is very upset because his brother just died. So I went. I was very nice to everybody. I was supportive. I still had some ill feelings toward them, but I noticed, you know, the more open I was, the more okay I was with talking to people that I didn't necessarily like in the moment, the better I felt. And I just think that people could learn a lot from that.
Yeah, that's valid.
So that's why we're having this
It's impressive.
conversation.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on the left. They don't do that. They I mean, how does that make you feel? Like seeing other people on the left who don't want to listen at all
Sad. Very sad.
or talk to the other side.
I reached out to
I mean, I'm
Vosh.
sure you've gotten like comments.
I think Vosh is a very
Who's that?
talented. Yeah, I have gotten comments. I'm down to 30.1K subscribers from 30.3. So I lost like 200 subscribers. Which is sad, but people are hurting and they don't want to be, the last thing that some of these people
Wow.
want to hear is that we need to have empathy for the other side. Because to them, empathy sounds like random fucking kindness that they don't deserve. When that's not what it is. Empathy is the ability to put your brain into the brain of somebody else and see things and feel things and hear things from their perspective. Right? And we all have the ability to do this, to empathize. We need only implement it. We all share 99% of the same brain matter. That 1% is where our differences come from, but 99% of us are the same shit. Okay? We're just a bundle of neurons that cause a lot of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And so we are basically remote controls to each other, right? Right now, you're sitting here listening to me, and the sound of my voice is unlocking pathways in your brain that you can go and explore later in your own time if you want. You can reevaluate things that we talked about. Maybe you'll forget some things. It's not a big deal. But you now have that unlocked in your brain. And that's how deprogramming happens. So to get back to your original question, how do I feel about other leftists not doing this? It's a waste. It's an absolute waste. Vosh reached out to the guy. I think he's a great guy. I think he's very, very talented as a rhetorician. And I think that he's making a huge mistake. I think he's wasting his talents. He needs to be using his gift of the gab to talk to the right now and in an empathetic way and try to see where they're coming from and then tell them why they're wrong. That is the only path forward. So I really, really wish that other leftists would get on board with this and be open with talking to the other side in an empathetic manner. Even if somebody like actual Jake, I know I'm rambling, I'm almost done, but even somebody like actual Jake, who I love very much, he talks to the other side all the time. But he does it in such a way that he's like bullying them, which is funny and well-deserved. And, you know, I don't really care that much. I still watch it. Like it's fun blood sports, but it is blood sports nonetheless. He too would be much more useful doing what I'm doing right now. Just like trying to have an open, honest dialogue and conversation and really, really try to see things from the other person's perspective. If we all did a little bit more of that, the world would be a much better place. Leftists included.
I know you apologize for rambling on, but I think that's a pretty good message. Yeah,
Thank you.
Good Good job for that.
Thank you. I try to keep things brief if I can, but
I think we should
can't always.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying I try to keep things brief, but I can't always.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Talking, like, I go on rants all the time. Usually about meaningless things. But I think we should end it here. I think we did pretty
Okay.
good.
Great. We can end it here.
We can talk about trans ideology and all that later.
Sure.
If we do get into that can of worms, we're going to be here for another hour. So
Fair
I
enough.
think we did good.
Fair enough.
Thanks for
Next
talking
time,
to me. It's actually really nice to,
I think
to
so
hear
too.
the other side. I don't hear these things.
I think so too. You don't, and that's why you don't understand them or want to hear them, like, from people who are just screeching at you, right? Like, if people are just
Not
screeching gibberish that even they themselves don't understand. Oh, but yeah, here's what we're gonna do. So, whenever you want to come on next, I stream Tuesdays and Fridays usually, but I'm open on Saturdays and Sundays as well. So whatever day works for you is fine. Come prepared with whatever topic you'd like to discuss. If you want to get back into 9/11, we can. If you want to get into the trans stuff, we can. Whatever you want to talk about, just come equipped to the teeth with whatever evidence you have. Okay. Yeah, I'm not asking you to do like extensive homework. Just come with enough. I challenge you this. Here's my challenge to you. Ready? Here's your homework.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should do extensive homework.
Maybe you should. Come to me
Wouldn't hurt.
prepared with a narrative to convince me of your views on trans people. Can you do that?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, good.
I'll see how I do.
Good, because I pushed this conversation forward for most of it. Now I'm challenging you now. Okay, you try to be the guy to push the conversation forward and assert your position next time. Okay.
Okay. Well, I think I think you could get in some problems with YouTube if I
No TOS. No TOS.
All right.
Basically anything like Matt Walsh, like, would be fine. Like Matt Walsh and lower, like, and that's pretty lenient. Okay, I just don't want you to be inciting any violence against anybody. But like, if you don't think trans women are real women or whatever, we can talk about that. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for talking. It's been
Absolutely.
a pleasure.
And your name
I'll
to the
talk
chat.
to you more later.
Masuki, thank you very much. Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Take care.
Yep. Take care. All right. I think that was pretty good. These things take time. You know, we talked mostly about 9/11, but these things take time. He's not a bad guy. Okay. He just is confused. And he doesn't understand why, whenever he tries to talk to leftists or trans people or whatever, why they seem to just screech at him to understand things that even they themselves seem to not understand fully.
Wealth, fame, power.
It's interesting how we never hear complaints about how Curious George was normalizing sexual preference or how Thomas the Tank Engine was normalizing trains PPE.
True. Thank you very much for 5 tier 1 gifted subs, Sakatanuki. Appreciate you. That went surprisingly well. I agree. Big disagree from the Retro Gamer. Okay, we got some people in chat disagreeing. We're going to have some people in comments disagreeing. That was a fascist, okay? He's a fascist. There's no getting around it. But we did a little tiny sliver of deprogramming today, okay? Just a little bit. We managed to convince him that 9/11 might not have been staged. That's progress, guys, okay? This is how deprogramming works. This is how rehabilitation works. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. It's not ideal, but this is how it's going to get done. And if you want to try to convince me otherwise, you need only set up a conversation. Hi, thanks so much for watching and making it to the end of the video. I just wanted to let you all know that I love and appreciate everybody in my community, whether you can support me financially or just by liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. It helps way more than you know. That being said, I do want to give a very special thanks to my tier 4 subs, which would be Space Timid and Hot Take Andy. And thanks so much to my monetary subscribers from any of the tiered subs, or anybody who gives me money in any form, including going to my Patreon shop, donating money to me directly. It all helps way more than you know. If you do decide to help me financially, you can get some really cool perks like early access to content, exclusive access to censored videos, also some really cool badges next to your name. Even if you can't afford a monetary subscription, just watching, sharing, and commenting on my content helps way more than you know. Thanks again, and I will see you all in the next video.